Our next guest has the playbook for building an MSP channel from zero. He was employee number 17 at Datto, the youngest sales rep there to ever hit yearly quota at only 24. He onboarded over 750 MSPs and ran the same play at Scout, Evo, Cork. He knows how to turn a cyber startup into an MSP channel machine. And he's who you call your channel motion stuff, recently named VP of Sales at Hook Security. And please help me welcome Nick Wolf.
Hey.
Yay, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me here. Happy to be here.
Got you here. Now, we need to do another show about everything in your background from I think it was Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote. I'm sure, we've got some Mortal Kombat action, but we don't have time today for that. We're going to ask you our patented questions that AI told us to ask you. And then if we have another time for another show, we'll ask you about your red R2-D2. Is that okay?
All righty. I love it. Let's dive into it.
So first question we like to ask is, what is your mantra or phrase that you live by as a leader?
So it's a phrase that I've been going with for the last 15 years now, and that's got to be Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour.
That is really an insightful mantra, Nick, because while Rome wasn't built in a day, laying bricks every hour, you have to be taking action, right? And so speaking of taking action, this is a new big action for you to go to Hook. Tell me what's something that makes Hook special.
Yeah, when it comes to Hook, they actually get it when it comes to, the managed services space. Everything that they do is with MSPs in mind, from their portal to their pricing to the security awareness content that they're generating to the way that the phishing simulation does reporting and reports back to the MSPs and their clients. For me, joining an organization, there has to be a culture fit. And with me and my history, I'm all in on managed service providers. So if they're not talking the language that MSPs want to hear and want to follow, that's not a fit for me. But when I was working with Hook very early on, it's clear that they were speaking the same messages that I wanted to be delivering.
What would you say executives are massively underestimating right now?
Yeah, it's really got to be AI, right? You can't go anywhere without AI, and it's really not about replacing your employees, but it's about augmenting your employees and making sure that your employees have the right tools to be efficient and scale with their job. Going back to my mantra of Rome wasn't built in a day, what AI is going to do for the future, it's going to help your employees build that road and lay that brick more efficiently, as opposed to having to do a lot of things manually.
What's one thing that you feel like people should stop doing immediately if they want to succeed in the next decade?
Yeah, so for something that I educate people on is really stop being sales reps. And I'm the VP of sales. I know this is going to sound crazy, but stop being sales reps and start being subject matter experts for your clients. Really intimately know their business, their past, their present, their future, what they're looking to accomplish. That's something that I really learned a bunch during the early years of Datto. Is they flat out told us, even though your business card says sales rep, stop being sales rep for your customers. Instead, be subject matter experts. Every time you pick up the phone and you dial your book of business or you email your customer, don't just dial them or email them or contact them to place an order to book the deal, because that's only helping you hit your quota. Instead, you want to provide value back to them, whether it be a latest case study, some more content, some more training. You want to be a subject matter expert providing value to your customers instead of just being an order-taking sales reps.
Great advice.
So when you say providing value to your customers, are the MSPs your customers? Is that who you're talking about today?
Yeah, for my career and my standpoint, my customers are managed service providers, MSPs, and I want to help them be as powerful as they can and provide as much value as they can downstream to their end clients.
That makes sense. So, as a leader, one of the things you do, whether it's forecasting or, understanding that subject matter expert, we're tasked with seeing around the corner, if you will, a sales leader. So what is a trend in the MSP space specifically that you are watching closely, and how is it impacting your customers today?
Yeah, right. It's definitely got to be AI. You pretty much can't go anywhere without AI. AI isn't, in my mind, it's not necessarily designed to replace your job, replace an MSP. It's really designed to augment and enhance them. Again, instead of having a rep out there or an MSP out there spending 2 hours to lay bricks and build that road, right? Because Rome wasn't built in a day. We want to replace that 2 hour process with a 2 second process because AI is going to be helping us on that journey.
Excellent, excellent. Now, when you say AI, I just as a follow-up question to that, and then I'll turn it back over to Matt to ask a question. What are you guys doing with AI in relationship to MSPs today?
Yeah, right. So we're doing a lot of AI learning, right? Especially around our security awareness training. That way we're protecting the users that they're not getting tricked by AI, right? Because AI is a blessing and a curse. The good guys use AI to make your lives more efficient and all the things that AI does from a good perspective. But AI is also used by the bad guys. So that means you're getting deepfake attacks, you're getting voicemail phishing attacks, you're getting better looking phishing emails, right? So we want to make sure that the users are trained from both sides of the fence on AI. Examples of where AI can be helpful and examples of where AI can also be hurtful, and types of AI attacks that you should be trained against and not fall victim to.
Got it.
You talk about AI and everybody's got their eye on it and they want to grow. My question is, how do you push for growth without losing that something special that your company has or that you have as a leader or your people? How do you push for that growth without losing the things that are most important?
Yeah, so ultimately, in my experience, you don't lose your culture because you grew the business. You lose your culture because you stop paying attention to the people that were doing all that hard work, that were in the trenches doing the growing. Me personally, I tend to do what is right over what is profitable, both for my customers as well as my employees alike. So if that means awarding, double comp in a certain scenario where, there's an overlay in a specific sales territory, right? Or with a customer, if we did them wrong during a certain month, maybe we have to give them a month.
A Dr. Doom mask? Do they get a Dr. Doom mask? If
they won't get a Dr. Doom mask per se, but I have sent out Legos. I have sent out, Star Wars helmets before. So especially for MSPs that send us a referral or something in the past or helped us out at a trade show. So doing what's right over what is profitable is definitely a culture milestone that should stick with any organization, at least organizations I'm a part of, no matter how big or small that they are.
And a follow-up to that is, if you ever were, I'm just going to guess, like, let's just say interviewed on a LinkedIn YouTube show, they did amazing shorts, would you ever think to send them out a big Lego set, something specific? Before you answer, like the Yoda, the full Yoda, which I may or may not have seen with the crazy eyes. I'm just wondering if you've ever thought to do that, if that's just something that you would do as a strategy.
It's definitely possible. I know that other organizations, they send out Starbucks gift cards if you book a demo. Maybe we have to up that offer, right? Send out a very nice, as long as it's not Minas Tirith, the latest Lego set from Lord of the Rings that cost $650.
No, I wouldn't want that. But if they did do like a short from the interview and then, I don't know, maybe the Millennium Falcon, a small Lego set. The point is, it's in the realm of possibility.
In the realm of possibilities, absolutely.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh. No.
All right, go ahead, Cass. Ask a better question.
Okay, that won't be hard. So, no, just kidding. I did find the Yoda with the crazy eyes that you were.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Those are some crazy eyes. Okay. So doing what's right, creating culture, doing the right thing, and then creating value. There sounds like there's a sense of commitment to your customers and to your team. What was the defining moment in your career, if you will, in your journey that sort of took you down the path? That developed the Rome wasn't built in a day mantra?
Yeah, I guess what really defined my career was it's got to be back to the early days of Datto. I was very fortunate to be the 17th employee there working at Datto in the very, very early days. And, during my time there at Datto, I was recognized as the #1 worldwide top sales rep. And at the time, Datto was a billion-dollar company with hundreds of elite sales reps around the globe. And standing on top of the mountain there, it wasn't just a career milestone. It fundamentally shaped, how I view the key word of execution, right? How am I executing at my job on a daily basis to constantly perform? And the reason why it was so defining wasn't necessarily the trophy or the publicity that I got around it. You don't become the #1 sales rep getting a bunch of lucky breaks or having the best sales territory, even though those things, definitely help. It really comes down to reverse engineering what that goal and outcome is and how do I execute on it, right? That means going back to my mantra of Rome wasn't built in a day, they were laying bricks every hour. How do I lay bricks every hour? That way I could hit my goal weekly, I could hit my goal monthly, I could hit my goal quarterly, and I could hit my goal annually. So that's something that I really took to heart is, what can I do that little bit of extra step every day, whether it's an extra dial, an extra email, an extra demo, a better note taking in the CRM that will set me up for a better success tomorrow and the next day.
So good.
So, you talked about not being lucky, and really what you're talking about is execution of skill, right? So with that execution and your career, you told me you've moved up from some big places. What is the riskiest decision you've made and how did it pay off?
Yeah, so my riskiest decision was accepting a new challenge, right? When I was at Datto, I was there for about a decade and I seen it all, going from a startup to a billion-dollar organization as their top sales rep. And I started to think to myself, am I a one-hit wonder? Am I just good at selling Datto and that's the only thing I'm ever going to be good at doing is just selling Datto? Or was I truly a good sales professional that could sell anything? So eventually I took the leap, I took the risk, and despite being the top rep at Datto at the time and on my A game, I joined a completely new organization, a startup. I was their 12th employee from scratch called Scout Cybersecurity, which was an XDR vendor for MSPs. And during a 2-year time frame that I was there, I basically followed the Datto recipe book and playbook that I helped write. And yes, I was recognized as their top sales rep at Scout, but it was like a team of 5 or 10 employees at the time. It wasn't much.
You still won though. You're still #1.
Yeah, still #1. Still a big fish in a small pond. But we were able to prove that playbook worked, and it worked so well. We onboarded so many MSPs in such a short time frame that we were actually acquired by Barracuda Networks for a 9-figure sum and became known as Barracuda XDR. So, I sort of had 2 back-to-back successful exits, both at Datto and at Scout. And, in my mind, that risk paid off, not just in the short term, but in the long term, because I knew that that's something I wanted to continue doing for the rest of my career. I love working with a small startup that wants to focus on the MSP space and really grow their channel presence and grow it the right way. Most recently, before joining Hook, I was at Cork for about 2.5 years, and I believe you guys just interviewed Andrew Mora, Cork's chief revenue officer that I had the pleasure of working with for about 1.5 years there. But during my 2.5-year stint at Cork, when I started, we were able to grow that revenue by about 2,000% over a 2.5-year period, and a lot of that is thanks to managed service providers, right? We were able to grow that partner base from about 15 paying MSPs to several hundred paying MSPs in a relatively short time frame. So if you're in my shoes and you're ready for that next challenge, I would recommend taking the risk.